Welcome to another episode of the All About Digital Marketing podcasts. I'm Chris Bruno, I'm your co-host, and I'm here today again with my co-host, Travis Ketchum. How are you doing, Travis?
Doing good, as usual, thousands of miles away.
Thousands of miles away, probably with nicer weather, but anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
I don't know, your fake background looks pretty nice, so.
That's what cheers me up. I just keep looking back to think about going to the pool, but anyway, it's fine. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to basically jump into ChatGPT, and we're not going to talk about ChatGPT. We're going to jump into ChatGPT. And I think this is going to be quite cool because I genuinely believe we can help people understand 5 ways that they can really use ChatGPT to help them with their marketing and to level up their marketing. And I think you agree with me on this.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool. You know, Steve Jobs had that old quote about how computers were the bicycle for the mind. Well, it kind of feels like AI is the bicycle for the computer.
The bicycle for the computer. I like it. So I'm going to share my screen, or are you going to share your screen?
Um, I'll let you drive today. How's that sound?
Oh, I've got to try and make this work.
Otherwise, I can share it if you want me to go for it. But happy to let you take the wheel.
Hopefully, this is working. So this is our first attempt at doing this, and there is something really important. So for anyone listening, don't worry. We're going to try our best to explain in detail what we're typing in, also to explain in detail or even read out the answers that are coming back out. But I think what will also be quite interesting is kind of explain some of the pieces along the way. This is all available on YouTube as a video as well, so you will be able to go and look at it and watch it again if you want to. And I do apologize. I know obviously having a visual element on an audio podcast doesn't always work out well for everybody, but I do think this is mind-blowing changes to the world, and I actually think for my own for my own sanity, I'm probably doing some mental health checks along the way here for me, because I do think that this has changed my entire industry, what I've done for a living for nearly 15 years, and I think it's going to change everybody else's as well. I just do. I think it's a huge game changer.
I think it's clear though to say like I don't think it's Armageddon. I just think that the landscape has shifted, and so there's an adaptability required here. It's not that the game is over; it's that the game has radically changed, and that's a key difference in my book.
I think the game has changed. I think there's a lot of people out there right now that make a living by creating social media content, by writing blogs, by doing what I would consider to be not necessarily simple by any means, but work that takes time that we require human beings currently to do because they do it best. And I think that's changing very quickly. And I do think there's a fair few people that if they can't find a good way to shift, are going to unfortunately find themselves in a sticky situation where, again, I guess when I went to university, when you and I went to, well, when you went to college as well, the jobs that we currently do just didn't exist, and that was fine. And I think that's going to be the next stage of this as well. But again, I just want people to understand the tools, maybe understand what the tools can do and what they can offer them. And if they're running their own business, if you're trying to figure out your marketing, if that's why you're listening to this, or if you're a marketer, we all know that this shift is going to happen. We don't know to what extent, and I do think this is probably a big piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of akin to doing print photography versus going digital photography. The skill sets are still important, and the curation and the domain expertise is still important. You're just changing the medium to speed up your workflow. That's kind of the biggest way to look at it. But let's give some people some real examples here. I think we have a kind of a goal here, right? That we're trying to help people show how to go from point A to point B and hit all the mileposts along the way.
Yeah, so I think this is something that's really important for people that don't actually know about this. Everything that you do in ChatGPT gives context to the next thing that you do within this conversation in ChatGPT. So if you're not aware of this, it means that yes, you can start a brand new ChatGPT, and I've now got to make sure I'm using the right the right window as I just try to click on the actual screen recording. Don't say anything, Travis. So, for example, you can literally go straight in and ask ChatGPT to start creating content for you, right? This is something that is really key, and I think a lot of people are using it for it. And so, for example, you can say, create 10 tweets about digital marketing for small businesses. And if you literally put as little as that, ChatGPT will build you out and write you 10 tweets. Simple as that. this is insane. So all I put in was create 10 tweets about digital marketing for small businesses. And what that's actually done is come back with 10 tweets very quickly. In the age of digital marketing, small businesses can compete with big dogs. Use SEO, social media, and email marketing to reach your audience and grow your brand. Now, Travis, you and I know this is some generic trash. That as much as I hate to say it, I know that people are doing this and then copying and pasting and throwing this into a Twitter account for themselves personally because they think, yeah, this is going to help me get those numbers up.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
like, oh, I'm
garbage.
just gonna load this right into Hype Fury. Game over. Problem solved. Job done.
Could fire all the interns and the marketing managers and the social media manager. That was easy, right? So
Now, to be fair though, this is also using the default model of GPT 3.5. Since you're in GPT Plus, I believe you should have GPT 4
I
available
do.
as a model. So let's see if the differences are. Let's
So
give it the same
actually,
prompt.
I'll do the exact same prompts and we'll
Yeah.
see what the difference is between GPT 3.5 and GPT 4. Create 10 tweets about digital marketing for small businesses and go. So straight away, we can see a really big difference, which is GPT-4
Emojis.
has gone straight in with emojis. It's gone in with hashtags for these tweets, and it's starting to try and pull things together that will attract people's attention or potentially get found for the right hashtags on Twitter. And I think this is a massive display, right, of the differences between ChatGPT 3.5, 3.5, and ChatGPT 4. But even then, this in particular that we're seeing is still remarkably generic content, right?
It's improved, but it's still fairly vanilla.
So let's talk about what we could actually do and how people could use this. And I think there's going to be probably 5 different ways in total. I'm hoping I haven't miscounted them. There's going to be 5 different ways that people can use this. But what we're actually going to try and do is we're going to take you from very beginning all the way through to having some content that comes out that you can hopefully use and that's going to be a lot more specific and a lot more in line with what it is that you want to actually make happen with your digital marketing.
And the key way we're going to do that is going to be context, right? The same way that you would talk to your parents, a professor, and a potential date all differently. Because of the context of the situation, it's going to have different outcomes. And so that's going to be the key theme you're going to hear us repeating here as we go through some of these exercises so that you actually get different results.
100%. And I think actually, I mean, this is an interesting one, right? Because you actually have been playing with some ideas around this. So I'm wondering whether or not we take your idea and roll with it to a certain extent and see where we get to.
Yep, sounds good to me. And which model do you want to use? I mean, 3.5 is what everyone gets on regular ChatGPT. ChatGPT Plus gets you access to the GPT-4. I figure we might as well use the latest and greatest model. What do you think?
Yes, use the latest and greatest model. Do you want to share your screen so that you can copy and paste some of the prompts that you've already used in the past?
I mean, you're already sharing, so let's just rock with that. Basically, the key is you want to tell it, I want you to act as, and give it some context. So some of the examples I've used in the past is I want you to act as an advertiser. Because as we said with context, that makes them think about things very different, right? And then we want to tell it what you want it to do in that role. So, you will create a campaign to promote a product or service of your choice. So you want to give it some free will, right? And then you're gonna give it the objective of saying you will choose a target audience, develop key messages and slogans, select the media channels for promotion, and decide on any additional activities needed to reach your goals. Now, the great part about that last portion is you're also giving it the freedom to tell you what you may have missed, right? This is one amazing piece. Like there was a friend of mine, or an acquaintance rather, that went to MIT and he had this software problem and he gave it one and even said, like, you're thinking about the problem the wrong way. Here's actually what you need to use, right? So letting it point out what you may not know or what you may be missing is great. Now we want to give it a real request, right?
So I'm
My
not
first
actually that quick at typing. So
Okay.
we're going to need to go through that again. Just and again, this will probably be nice for anyone listening. But we will you will choose a target audience. So we're giving it the freedom to be able to understand that it's going to be promoting something, but also to figure out who that target audience would be or
Yep.
what that connection would be.
Develop key messages and slogans.
So this is the idea of trying to get it to come up with some of the call to actions that would be super specific to that product and also their target audience.
Mm-hmm. Select the media channels for promotion. And decide on any additional activities needed to reach your goals.
Right. There we have it. So
And now we, yeah.
this as like
So
the
the next part
beginning
is,
part of a prompt, and this is what's
mm-hmm.
important for people to understand, is this is giving context to the machine to be able to act in a certain way and respond in a certain way. And then now this gives you an opportunity to actually add in something that's more specific to yourself, to what you're trying to achieve, to what you do as a business as well. So what should we use as an example for this, Travis?
The way I like to formulate it is I say, my first suggestion request is, and then I put in quotes. And it's like, I need help creating. And now we can, now we have some freedom here. So what do we want it to create? We can ask it to create an advertising campaign for a specific situation. We can ask it to create a webinar script. What are you thinking?
Well, so what do we look at in terms of a campaign to help promote a podcast about digital marketing? Is that too meta?
I think it'll help people understand. So yeah, I need help creating an advertising campaign for a digital marketing podcast. And
Now,
then
as you can see,
in quote.
I'm going to very quickly fix all the terrible spelling mistakes that I made.
Thank you, Grammarly, using more software
More
to
more AI
improve
to help the AI that helps deliver the AI.
Yeah, exactly.
So, shall we give this a run and see what happens?
Yep, here we go. Yahtzee, let's go.
So, straight away, what we're actually currently getting fed by the looks of it, I would say, is a potential title for a podcast, which might actually be cooler than the one that I came up with 4 years ago. But more importantly, is now the system is actually written up a title. So, Digital Marketing Unleashed, the podcast. We can replace that with All About Digital Marketing, the podcast. But we've got the target audience. So, we're looking at digital marketing professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners, marketing enthusiasts, and individuals interested in learning and expanding their knowledge about digital marketing strategies, tactics, and trends. Key messages. 1, stay ahead of the digital marketing curve. 2, unlock the secrets of successful digital marketing campaigns. 3, learn from industry experts and gain valuable insights. 4, boost your business growth with proven digital marketing techniques. And now it's even created a whole list of slogans for us. So unleash your digital marketing potential. Your ultimate guide to digital marketing success. Unlock the power of digital marketing strategies. So again, now we're getting a ton of info very quickly. But what I think this is where it gets more interesting now is that we're actually getting to the point where it's giving us ideas and it's feeding us with ways that we could actually use this for promotion. Like, how do we do this? Where do we go? What channels could we use? So here we've got the usual things that you would always expect to see, I think, Travis. But some also for some of you out there that we don't always think about, or things that we may have forgotten about, or things that just kind of nudge our memory a little bit as well, or remind us to not be lazy on certain pieces of the of the marketing spectrum that we're supposed to do. But we've got things like social media, we've got YouTube, we've got email marketing, we've got content marketing, influencer partnerships, and podcast directories as like 6 media channels that it's provided to us straight away for promotion. And then it's given us additional activities, which I think is interesting because now it's talking about some things that we could actually do and how we distribute those on those channels beforehand, but some things that we could actually do.
Yeah. And these are those things where I said, by giving it that open loop of give us any additional activities that may be required to achieve the goal, right? So this is where we allowed it to have that freedom of choice, right? To say, hey, we know it has been successful. So here's some things, even though you didn't ask for them specifically, the fact that you gave me the latitude to give you additional suggestions, here I'm going to spit them out. And this is where it kind of, at least for me, tickles the back of my brain a little bit and gets the gears spinning a little faster and gives me more ideas on how to do it outside of the bog standard, like vanilla stuff that you may expect.
Basically what you're saying is this is the bit that excites you, really. This is the bit where you start to see some magic happen. It starts to get you really going.
Yep, for sure.
So
Gets the engine going for sure.
the additional activities it's decided, and this again for the people who are listening rather than the people who are watching this, but it's now given us 5 different additional activities. So networking, attend digital marketing conferences and events to connect with potential listeners and experts in the field. Number 2, webinars and workshops. Organize webinars and workshops around key digital marketing topics featuring podcast guests as speakers. Number 3, contests and giveaways. Engage listeners with contests and giveaways on social media platforms, encouraging them to share and comment on the podcast content. Number 4, podcast cross promotions. So you can partner with other podcasts in the marketing niche for cross promotions, sharing each other's content and reaching new audiences. And number 5, sponsored episodes, reaching out to companies and tools in the digital marketing industry for sponsored episodes and partnerships, offering them exposure to your audience. Now, what do you think of those 5 ideas, Travis?
I think they're reasonably decent. Obviously I have a lot of background in contests, so for me that pops up pretty quickly on the list of things to do. But when you talk to most people, they may have a hard time, getting there by default. I think the networking piece, cross promotions and sponsored, I think is pretty obvious to most people. If you're not a traditional marketer, doing webinars and workshops to promote a podcast may not be an automatic thing you would have thought of, though.
It's not, but actually it's quite interesting because even this episode that we're currently doing probably could have been thought up as a webinar or a workshop.
Yeah.
Because this is a perfect subject for people to actually be able to jump in, register their interest, and actually learn something about how these systems work. Admittedly, there's no gating of this content, so feel free to enjoy. But do hit that subscribe button if you find this useful in any way, shape, or form. Now, this is what I like about this. And again, this is what the difference is between what we just played around with, give me 10 social media posts, for example, is that what we're actually starting to create here is context for the machine to keep going and to move forward, right? And this is something that I think a lot of people don't play with as much. And I think this is something that people don't necessarily realize, that now that you've got all this info, we can actually interact directly, talking about whatever it is that it's talked about, and also asking the machine to be able to give us different or alternative ideas, or to look at it from a different perspective if we're not sure, or if we just want to make sure that it's really specific to what we're doing. We now have an ability to interact, right?
That plus we can ask it to expand on a specific bullet point here, right? So it's trying to give us the brief overview on a lot of different activities and a lot of different channels and things that we have at our disposal. But if one of these really jumps out to us, but we're having a hard time seeing the next steps, we could then continue this context thread where it's now still thinking like an advertiser, but now it has more information and thought process around what we're trying to advertise. We can continue building on that context and have it expand. So we could, do a webinar or a contest or whatever. We could even probably have it write, cross promotion outreach emails, right? About how do I promote this with others, similar podcasts. So we have a lot of avenues we can go here. But I think it would be interesting to pick one of them and have it exploded out a bit more and give us an overview, an outline. And then within that, if there's emails need to be written, write the emails, like the whole deal, and take it down that rabbit hole. How far do you want to go?
This is the fun part. So actually what I was going to say to people as well, if you're watching at this point, or if you're not and you're just listening, but if you've repeated what we've done, and again, all the prompts and stuff we'll add into the show notes for today's episode, so you can play and have a go and doing this yourself. But basically at this point as well, you could very simply ask it to give you 5 examples or 5 ideas for each of these activities, to just get your creative juices flowing, if you're looking at this going contests and giveaways, like what would I give away? Again, this is your time, right, to really enter and engage in that and say, what would 5 prizes be for or what are 5 ideas for prizes for a contest or a giveaway, for example? Or like Travis was saying, where would I find relevant podcasts to cross promote to, just to start that process for you as well. I think some people also get to this point, and that's a lot of information, right? That's just been dumped. For you and I, we're looking at this going, cool. And actually, there's probably a few things on here that if we look at that first social media, or sorry, the media channels for promotion, we probably both recognize that, the cobbler's kids have no shoes kind of problem. So we're looking at this, and I know you and I have spoken a lot about content marketing in the sense of, we need to do more for our SEO. We need to do more for how we get content out there, etc. Email marketing, a huge piece of obviously what you do, not so big for me, which I should do more of, and then vice versa for social media, where I've done more of it than you have. And I think that's something that, again, this is a lot, right? If you're not a marketer or anything else, I think so. Don't be afraid to look at this, stop and just ask questions if you need to, right? This is almost like interacting with a human being.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's here to serve.
Right, well, let's see what are we going to tackle then. Do you want to go down the idea of webinars or workshops? I think this could be an interesting one to go down.
Yeah, for sure. And we can always come back later too, and touch on contests if we want to. But I think webinars and workshops is probably one of the more surprising answers, I think, to people if they were thinking about how do I promote my podcast. So let's see what it has to do with its suggestions. So let's maybe say, please give me some ideas for a webinar or workshop that would attract our target audience.
Happy with that?
Yep.
Okay. So again, re-referencing what we've already been talking to it about, or what it came up with, that idea of that target audience. So it's using the above context that it already came up with in terms of our target audience, and it's re-referencing that plus the webinars workshop idea, and now pulling these things together. So for me, number 2, ideation. When it comes to ChatGPT, this is probably the single best tool I've ever had for ideation. Like, James Altucher always talked about the 10 ideas a day, scribble them down kind of thing. This is just insane. You want ideas? Here we go. We've typed in, please give us some ideas for a webinar or workshop that would attract our target audience. It's currently come up with a title for this. So Digital Marketing Power Hour, boost your business with cutting edge strategies, and webinar workshop ideas. So we've now been given so far 11. It's just wrapping up, I think, the answer, thankfully. So it's given us 11 workshop or webinar ideas from, number 1, mastering the art of SEO, learn the latest SEO techniques, trends, and tools to help you rank higher in search results and drive more organic traffic to your website. And then we go on social media marketing domination, content marketing mastery, email marketing magic, Facebook ads deep dive, Google ads optimization, video marketing 101, influencer marketing uncovered, conversion rate optimization crash course, podcasting for profit, and the future of digital marketing. I mean, I think I need to go on that webinar to see about the podcasting for profit at some point.
I also like that at the end here, it gave you like, okay, now that you have some titles, you start thinking, well, what's the scope, right? And it says each webinar/workshop could be designed as a 60 to 90 minute session, providing a mix of theory, real life examples, and practical tips. To attract your target audience, promote these events through your podcast, social media channels, email campaigns, and collaborations with influencers in the digital marketing industry. Offer exclusive resources such as checklists, templates, or ebooks to attendees as added value, and encourage them to share the learnings with their networks. Now, what I love about this is this got more specific than I expected it to. Because one main thing I see when people do workshops or webinars is it's like, yay, we're doing this thing, please register, show up live, there's no additional materials, and we're going to send you the replay, which no one ever watches the replay, really, unless you have some kind of scarcity element to it. So it's giving you the value add. The one piece that my marketing brain goes to, because I'm in marketing space, when I read all those headlines, I don't know about you, But I thought these are great, and they're also a great opportunity to do a influencer to do the actual presentation. So this could be, I, I could potentially see us doing, 8 or all 11 of these and finding an expert that goes, I feel like you and I have above average knowledge, but finding a true expert on each one of them to come in and give a specific track talk, right? Because then they're going to provide a lot of extreme expertise, potential cross promotion value, right? So you starts get you going about, we could do a whole freaking summit about this, right? Like, and just make it a whole bunch of categories. It could be really interesting.
But now we basically just decided that we're going to do the All About Digital Marketing conference, which is 11 fantastic workshops that you can attend, and the price will be $497. No. So the key thing, though, about this, right, is, again, I really want to try and emphasize this as we go through this. We've gone from not really knowing what we were going to talk about and talk to it about and understand. We've gone to the point of ideation where, I mean, this is insane. Like you said, all 11 ideas there. If we found a partner, a company, and a time basically to do this, we would be able to pull this together, right? So we could have the expert as an influencer that would come on to actually help us and talk about this, or we could guide it through, or they could just take over on it and they're getting an event produced and set up for them for free. During that, we could also go to a company that offers a tool that helps to do X, Y, or Z, whichever one it is. So, for example, for Facebook ads, for email marketing. Do you know anyone, Travis, for email marketing? Good company
I
that
might
we
know
could.
a guy.
Oh, right, cool. Like we can look into that then. So again, like we can actually do this in a way that actually you could find a great series of people, companies, etc., that would all be happy to be involved in this, and you're suddenly creating something that does bring a value to the table, does really offer somebody something. And again, we're still only at the beginning of this, because I think this is now where it gets really exciting from my point of view. We've got the context, we've done the ideation, now we can get into the details. And this is, I still think for me, useful tool. I don't believe we should just all rely on please write everything for me and best of luck. I don't think we're there yet. We have to give this context and get to that point. But I do think that right now is a great way that we could take one or two of these ideas very easily and ask it to show us an outline of what a course or what a workshop like this could potentially look like. And then maybe even how we would deliver it, right?
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'd be interested in keeping going down this rabbit hole. Let's pick one of these and maybe ask it for some potential influencers that could be a speaker for one of them, and then help it write some outreach emails. You want to go that far?
Let's see. Let's do it. Let's see what
Great.
happens.
So let's pick one of the 11 ideas here. Dealer's choice. Whichever one jumps out to you, it could be like Google Ads optimization or whatever. And then we will ask it to show, give us some potential partners that have expertise about the topic.
So I'm actually going to be a real dick and go down the number 11 and go with the future of digital marketing, because I genuinely still mind-boggling with what we can do, but also because I think right now a lot of other people are as well, right? It's a topic that is can't ignore, but I think there's also a lot of tools that are just appearing that people are jumping onto very quickly, and I've been playing with a few of them. Hopefully I'll be able to pull these things together into a video so that we can post that as well. It's not going to be your solution, right? So we tried one for the podcast recently where you just drop in your episode and it'll do all the hard work for you. Man, it's not good. So
yeah, it whiffed big time.
What's that?
It whiffed it big time. Just
massively.
Totally missed the ball.
Massively. And again, so if you want to see this, you can go down to Twitter and actually I put the thread that it suggested that I post, and I just found it. Like, it could have been written about anything. It had no real impact or influence or anything to do with what we had actually been talking about. So I wasn't very impressed.
Whatever you say, person zero.
Person zero. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with person zero. Right, keep your eyes on for that. There's a future episode coming. All right, so let's go with idea number 11, future of digital marketing. And let's see if we can actually take this all the way through to the end, like you said, and potentially to actually be something that we produce as well. I think that would be a really cool way to end it if we manage to. But let's see. Yeah.
So we could say, give us some expert influencers that could talk about idea 11. Or what did it call it? What was the context that it called it? Maybe scroll up a little bit.
Idea 11, the future of digital marketing. Like that?
Let's see what it does. Could always break the system, but that's okay.
Wow, nothing quite like breaking the system. So we've gone with give us some expert influencers that can talk about Idea 11, the future of digital marketing. So bearing in mind, again, the context of everything that we've already talked about, and now obviously asking it to give us ideas of who these people are that we could talk to. Now, straight away, I can tell you that they're giving us some great people that are going to be remarkably interesting and or hard to get onto our podcast. But again,
It helps
if it
that it
gives
helps
us
that I actually have the cell phone number of number one.
that would be very useful to help. Like it, maybe we just send him the email that we get out of this at the end, and we just put, "Look, we're doing this experiment. Come on board, play ball. It'll be fun." So far we've got Neil Patel in number one, and it's given us the website, the Twitter, which I think is fantastic. So it's already giving us a helping hand to how do you get in contact with these people, how do you find them. It's also given us a very small and quick bio for each of these people. So here you can see Neil Patel is a renowned digital marketing expert, co-founder of Crazy Egg, Hello Bar, and Kiss Metrics. Has been recognized by Forbes as one of the top 10 online marketers and a sought-after speaker on topics like SEO, content marketing, and growth hacking. Number 2, Gary Vee. Number 3, Marie Smith. Number 4, Rand Fishkin. Number 5, Anne Handley. So we've now got 5 people that
I
we
want to
could
jump
reach
in
out
real
to.
quick and just point out that, this is where the domain expertise thing comes in about knowing an industry and knowing a person. So, like, I know Neil personally. I've known him for years. I also know that he acquired Hello Bar. He's not a co-founder of it. He was a co-founder of the other two, right? Crazy Egg and Kiss Metrics. So it's interesting to know that, like, that's a thing that you could easily copy and paste and be like, I already got your bio. But if you're going to go down this rabbit hole, you got to fact check it, right? So just wanted to point that out. It's a real simple, subtle thing, but it's worth noting that you're never going to get 100% right answer. And this is why having some context and domain expertise and fact checking anything, especially if you're going to go do outreach, right? Like knowing for sure what they actually co-founded versus what they maybe own and run is an important differentiator for making it show that you did the homework and not just have a ChatGPT give you the answer.
And I also want to add to that, after 165, 9, 10, I don't know how many of these we've actually done so far. If you are doing something like this and you're going to put somebody's bio onto anything, you want them to be happy with it. This is something that I have unfortunately tried to do things in the past and try to move fast and one thing and another, and realize that people actually can be very, very upset with a mistake. So you talked about this, Travis, before we did our AI episode, the first one. We talked about, this system can be very good at just telling you stuff and you want to believe it, and it comes across very confidently. Fact checking, like you said, the industry knowledge, understanding your own business, going to be really important. But again, take a few minutes. Most of these people and anyone that is worth their weight at who's going on to these shows or doing speaker opportunities, etc., will literally have a one-pager ready to send to you with all the details and info. So don't be afraid to ask as well if that is something that you're going to do. But anyway, it gave us some instructions again at the end of this, though. So reaching out to these influencers for interviews, guest appearances, or collaborations can help you address the topic of the future of digital marketing on your podcast, whilst also providing credibility and exposure to a wider audience. So I've got one thing to say about this, and I think these 5 that it's given us is fantastic, except for the fact that they are very big names. I'm wondering if there would be a way for it to maybe know of some people that we could also maybe get in touch with, but that aren't quite A-listers that potentially charge tens of thousands of dollars to go to a speaking opportunity.
What if we try asking it, give us some more examples of lesser known experts?
Let's give it a go. Lesser known experts in this field?
You may have to help it remember the thread we're on and say lesser known experts about, or in this field. You can try it if you want, but
well, we can. It should be okay from the one thing, but again, experts who can provide. Let's go with the same thing. Who can provide valuable insights on the future of digital marketing. Here we go. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. There we go. Let's go down. So what we've done here is ask it really simply, give us some more example of lesser known experts who can provide valuable insights on the future of digital marketing. And what we're trying to do here is to hopefully get some people that if we go to their Twitter accounts, for example, that we're going to see they're not, they haven't got 5 million, 10 million followers, as the All About Digital Marketing podcast is still quite small. I'm okay with saying that. So we want to find some people that maybe we have more of a chance of actually getting them in to have that conversation with us. And so far, we've got 3 names that have come up. So we've got Aleida Solis, Brian Fanzo, Maddie Osman, we've got Ross Simmons, and hopefully the 5th one that'll come in shortly. Any names that are ringing bell for you, Travis?
Nope, and that's actually a great thing because that's exactly what we asked you for.
So now we've got 5. Ha! I actually do know Lachlan. Fantastic. Right, so this is why this is an interesting space in this site. Like, it's insane what we can do. But by asking for this now, I think we've got potentially 5 people that you wouldn't feel out of place reaching out to. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with reaching out to those first 5 either. You have to be very specific in terms of your pitch, but that's a different point. But I think this list of 5, if we then went into their Twitter accounts and we went to see how many followers they had, etc., we'd then be able to get an idea and gauge whether or not we think that we could get those people onto the show or to work with us to do some form of a workshop, etc. So I think this is a great list.
I love the closing statement it has here because I think it's quite accurate.
So, sorry, you're right. Inviting these lesser known experts to your podcast can provide fresh perspectives and insights on the future of digital marketing, while also offering opportunities for networking and collaboration within the industry. Huge, right?
I think the key there is fresh perspectives, right? Because one thing about the A-list people is they do have a lot of pull and do have a big audience, but they tend to get on certain tracks, right? And the track changes over time, but they have a certain scope, they have a certain way they like to present things, they have certain metaphors they like to use. And so sometimes getting these lesser known people can actually be a more interesting conversation just simply for the fact that it's a conversation that hasn't already happened 300 times.
I'm trying to understand. Are you saying Gary Vee has like a particular track?
Hustle your face off. What are you sleeping for? You can sleep when you're dead.
So hustle, hustle, hustle. But I think what is really good about this, though, so we have got these 5 people that, by the way, again, like I know one person on the list only, so I'm not going to pretend like I know everybody that's out there by any means. And obviously it's always fun that Travis knows the first person on the A-list game, and I know number 5. Lachlan, I'm sorry, man. Like, I will reach out to you and let you know that this is coming out.
But you're an A-lister in our hearts, Lachlan.
You are an A-lister in our hearts. And also, I'd like to collaborate and do something. So now what we're going to actually do is figure out what we could do with this list, right? And I think this is where we're going through these phases again. So we've gone with that idea of, what the business is, the avatar, what it is that we're going to be trying to do. And that's given us the context. We've gone through ideation, what could we do? How could we do it? What could we promote and how do we promote it? We've then taken that forward and gone into actually, well, let's figure out a little bit more about that. So we now have an understanding of what we could do in terms of a webinar or workshop. We've chosen a title for it. We're now asking for guests that could come on and be involved in this. And I think now, for me anyway, Travis, the next step would be to start looking at what some of the deliverables that we would need might actually look like. So we could actually look at, for example, like you said, help me write an outreach email to all of these guests to see who would like to come on and be involved in this workshop with us.
Yeah. Maybe give the context of help me write a cold outreach email for all 5 of these potential guests. And we'll see how well it does and see if it actually keeps track of all 5.
Let's see what happens.
And maybe we need to give it
context.
All these potential guests on our upcoming digital marketing summit.
Titled, and again, we actually have this created a title for us, so why not use that?
Go back and get it.
Yeah. I'll take the whole thing. Give it the best chance of understanding what we want to do. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's see what happens. Now, I don't know about you, Travis, but doing this I have received so many pitches for people to be on the podcast. We often discuss some of the more interesting ones that come through. And again, some of the people that we know, some of the people we've never heard of. So we have to try and kind of filter these things through. Please bear in mind that people that are higher up in those A-lister 5 names that we had earlier will receive hundreds of emails trying
Per
to
day.
pitch them. Pardon?
Per day.
Yeah, hundreds per
Hundreds
day.
per day.
So literally everyone is trying to do them. So there's going to be 2 things that I'm looking for in this email, and I will start reading out what it's coming up with. There's 2 things that I think are going to be really important when you're doing this outreach. Is one, to be very specific. So what it is that you're asking them for, and not sort of sugarcoating it too much. But number 2, making it short. I
Yeah.
don't think so. This is one thing that I'm looking at the way this is producing this email right now, and this email is long. So
Way
I'd say
too
like this
long.
is almost a full page letter rather than an email.
Yeah, no
And
one's ever going to read that. Think about, pickup lines at the bar. You're not reading them War and Peace to get them to talk to you.
so this is what it's come up with. Subject line: invitation to speak at our upcoming digital marketing summit. Your podcast name. So now it's actually created the whole email. So, dear expert's first name, I hope this email finds you well. My name is, I'll go with Chris, and I'm the host of the All About Digital Marketing podcast, the podcast dedicated to exploring the latest trends and insights in the digital marketing space. This is really important because that context, the only time it's come up was in ChatGPT's first ever answer to us. Let's just be clear. Like, we haven't re-referenced what the podcast is about. It decided what the podcast was about. So that's really interesting to remember. We are currently organizing an exclusive digital marketing summit titled The Future of Digital Marketing, discuss upcoming trends, innovations, and the impacts of new technologies such as AI, VR, and voice search on digital marketing strategies. The event will be held on date and will bring together top digital marketing experts to share their knowledge and predictions on the future of the industry. I've been following your work on Expert's website, blog, social media, and I've been impressed by your expertise in expert specialization. Your insight into the evolving digital marketing landscape would be invaluable to our attendees and would be honored to have you as a speaker. I'm not even halfway through the email now. And by this point,
I'm already bored. I don't know about you.
yeah, like I'm struggling to read it, right? So it's tried to give us as a speaker, they would have opportunities to share their thoughts, network, one thing and another. I mean, again, I don't think that's particularly useful. It's also said, like, we understand your time is valuable. I find that funny because at this point, we've written about 7 paragraphs, so it's just continuous thing going on. Please let us know if you'd be available to join as a speaker. Thanks for considering. Your warm regards, blah, 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 blah. So I think straight away we know these guys are busy. We need to get this email much shorter. And we're not going to go away and do this hard work ourselves, are we?
Nope. I would say rewrite that email as short as possible, focusing on what's in it for the guest.
Let's see what happens. So rewrite that email as short as possible, focusing on what's in it for the guest. So already straight away, it's kind of reduced the subject line into a slightly different variation. Interestingly, speak at your podcast name summit and boost your influence. So now I'd say this is much better for those second 5 or the list, sorry, not the A list, not the Gary V's, but obviously 4, 5 people who are more in your level or more in that network around that tight size of audience, etc. There is real benefit in having this content that's created with them. So, hi, expert's name. I'm your name, host of your podcast name. We're organizing a digital marketing summit on this date, focusing on the future of digital marketing. Your expertise in blah caught our attention, and we'd love to have you as a speaker. By participating, you'll share your insights with a large audience, network with industry experts, increase your visibility in the digital marketing community. Interested? Question mark. Let's discuss further details and see if it's a good fit. Best, your name.
Way better.
That's so much better.
Way better. Now, the fun, I would say this is at least usable. The last one was way too inflated. It was trying too hard. It was too verbose. This one is definitely usable for those more approachable people. Now, knowing copywriting, I would be curious if we can try to poke the bear here a little bit and maybe get it to rewrite it in a maybe say rewrite that email in a clickbait style format and
Oh,
just
that's amazing.
see what it does to see if, because I've gotten some pretty funny cold emails and they do catch my attention.
So rewrite that email in a clickbait format
In a
and maybe
clickbait
throw in.
format that gets people to respond.
Okay. And we don't want to say anything about trying to be funny, right?
Let's just see what it comes up with.
So rewrite that email in a clickbait format that gets people to respond. Here we go. Subject line. We have a fire emoji straight away. Exclusive invitation. Explode your influence at our top digital marketing summit. I got to be honest straight away. There's more of a chance that people would click on that potentially, unless it turns out we're emailing nothing but marketers. We all know what we're doing to each other. But we have got a fairly short email, though it is longer than the last one so far. But here we go. Hey, expert's first name. You won't believe this opportunity. Rocket ship emoji. I'm Chris, host of All About Digital Marketing podcast, and we're holding the ultimate digital marketing summit on date to reveal the future of the industry. We've been following your game-changing expertise in expert specialization and knew we had to invite you. Join our all-star lineup and share your mind-blowing insights, brain emoji, network with the industry's biggest names, handshake emoji, skyrocket your visibility in the digital marketing community, upward trending graph emoji, don't miss out, no entry emoji, reply now, and let's chat about how you can become part of this epic event. To your success. Signed, Chris. Thoughts?
I think it's totally viable. I mean, I maybe wouldn't use quite so many emojis, but I think it's at least interesting, right? And so you could probably from here, we don't need to do it on this example, but you could probably say, write me another variation, right? And like you could probably come up with 30 or 40 variations and then pick 5 or 10 and then basically start split testing them with your outreach, right? Which one of them actually gets people to reply? I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think the one right before this was usable. I think depending on your personality type and the kind of the vibe you're going for, this could be usable as well and potentially better. But if you're going for a more, white collar, corporate executive, I don't think that this would be the right approach per se. But for our particular audience, I think this could hit personally.
So I'm really into this, like on the idea of we've done the deliverables for an email, but I think we could use, I don't think we've hit the 25 message limit for GPT-4 yet. So what I'm also thinking is that we could actually use this to create some very basic copy to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. We could also maybe even get it to write that copy pretending like we've already got those 5 guests that are going to be signed up and on board so that we can pull together a little bit of content. And from that, I'd also like to show people the difference between the social media posts that we asked it to write a little while ago and how much more pertinent and specific these will be and how much more useful they are when you start to get down this context creating conversations.
So how do you feel about asking it to write a headline for a summit featuring 5 experts in the future of digital marketing, and then once we're done with that, having it write the social media post for it?
Let's do it. Have you got a prompt in mind?
Yeah. Write a headline promoting our summit with 5 expert guests titled and then we'll want to give it the same title it gave us before.
Let's go back and find the... I'm not going to use the second half because I realize after having done that second half was really more of like trends as to what's actually included in there.
And then maybe even, so we had said write a headline, maybe write a registration headline.
Registration call to action?
Yeah, sure.
To encourage our target audience to register, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Happy with that?
Let's see what it does.
So what we've gone with in the end is write a headline promoting our summit with 5 expert guests titled The Future of Digital Marketing, and write a registration call to action to encourage our target audience to register. So what I have realized what we've done here is we only actually asked for one, right? Whereas we
Yeah.
could have actually asked for a few options.
Yeah, that's okay. I think people will get the idea. You could always keep giving it variations. I think this will be enough for us to see if it changes the social media promotions.
So here we've got headline, Unleash Your Potential, join 5 industry titans at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. It's included all the key information that we talked about, but it's given us that as a headline. And then registration call to action, ready to turbocharge your digital marketing skills and stay ahead of the curve. Don't miss this opportunity to learn from 5 expert guests at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. Register now and secure your spot for an unforgettable experience that will transform your marketing game. Thoughts?
For a baseline, that's better than most people would write, I think. It's not world beating copy, but as a baseline, if you put that up, you would probably be at least average, if not above average, I think.
I'm starting to get in my head this idea of us actually doing an experiment and not telling anyone about it and then seeing what we get to at the end rather than just this version on today's episode. But would you like to change it in any way or try and influence it in any way so that we then, before we then run some social media posts, and just so that people can see start to finish, I think just how much of a difference these things can make?
I mean, we could. If anything, I would maybe rewrite the headline.
Well, let's go with rewrite 3 new versions of the headline above.
Yep.
Make one more clickbaity, I was going to say. One more direct and
one more professional, maybe.
Yeah, one more. It's funny how I didn't go with that. That's an option. Right. Rewrite 3 new versions of the headline above. Make one more clickbait, one more direct, and one more professional. So the idea of this is, again, instead of us trying to figure out all the ins and outs and trying to do it one by one to figure out what it is that we want it to do, take 3 examples. You could have said 5 examples. We didn't even need to tell it necessarily what we wanted them to be specifically. But bearing in mind, our original headline was Unleash Your Potential, join 5 industry titans at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. We've now got a clickbait headline, which is Discover the Secrets of Tomorrow's Marketing. 5 experts reveal all at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. A direct headline is Learn from 5 top experts at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. Register today. And the professional headline is Explore emerging trends with industry leaders at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. I hate to admit it, the one that will probably actually get people to register is, in fact, the clickbait headline. Would you agree?
Well, it's clickbait for a reason, buddy. So now we have to. You want to have it write some social posts for the clickbait headline?
Yeah. So now what we're thinking is, so if you've actually used some of these things, and if you were going to have this as your main page, this is what you want to try and do to actually get people to sign up, etc. You're then going to post this out left, right, and center, linking comments, but you need some social media posts to be able to push this out. So I think there's going to be 2 different parts to this that I would ask it to write. And I'm going to just say Twitter for now because it's going to be much shorter. I think if we get into LinkedIn, it can get a bit verbose. So, but I think if we asked it for Twitter, I think what I would say is we need headlines, we need Twitter content, for Twitter from our point of view. But I'd also like it to try and have a go at writing an example tweet that we could give to the guests that were going to be there, those 5 industry experts.
Yeah, I think that's good. So that's two additional prompts, or do you want to do it all in one?
We'll do first one from our point of view. So, should we go with 3 tweets?
Sure. Yeah, definitely need to tell it multiple.
Okay, well, let's just do multiple. Write some tweets to promote
the clickbait headline.
The headline. And actually, I'm going to copy and paste it.
And obviously, that's a way to make sure that it does exactly what you want it to do. But I think we probably could have gotten away with saying promote the clickbait headline, and I bet it would have picked it up. But I'm totally fine with this route.
Yeah, I think you're right as well. Sometimes it's just nice to add in that extra bit of security, like you say. But look, we've got write some tweets to promote the headline, discover the secrets of tomorrow's marketing, five experts, blah, blah, blah. I think we should also add into this, make them. Well, we're
Just say
aiming to get people
from the perspective of the organizers.
from the perspective of the organizers looking to increase registrations.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. So the final prompt is write some tweets to promote the headline, discover the secrets of tomorrow's marketing, five experts reveal all at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit from the perspective of the organizers looking to increase registrations. So straight away, tweet one, get ready to skyrocket your digital marketing skills. Join us at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit as five top experts reveal game-changing secrets. Register now and unlock your potential. Insert registration link. And it's used 3 hashtags, I think. Hashtag digital marketing, hashtag marketing summit. Sorry, 2. And it's also thrown in a couple of emojis. ChatGPT 4 loves emojis by the looks of it. But it's fine. Tweet 2, stay ahead of the marketing curve, light bulb emoji. Our Future of Digital Marketing Summit brings together 5 industry experts to share their secrets on tomorrow's marketing strategies. Don't miss out. Register today, insert registration link, hashtag digital marketing summit, so on and so forth. It's actually provided us with 5. So we didn't specify, we didn't say 3 or 5, we just said write some tweets, and it's ended up giving us 5. So I think that's kind of interesting. But again, I'd say these are more on point. I think they don't reference the guests, and obviously when you don't know who the actual speakers are going to be, you wouldn't be able to include that. But I do think if we had said that we had managed to get Lachlan and whoever else to be involved in this, that this would also have included that and incorporated it.
I could
So
also
I think
see an exercise once you get closer to the finish line and you have your roster locked, of basically going through this exercise for each expert, right? And about their specific talks. You could feed it the expert, their talk, and then say, write me some tweets promoting this guest's session in our summit with this name. And I think you could repeat this, and then you start building up a whole arsenal of content, right? Because if you do 5 of those per guest, maybe you have 5 guests, all of a sudden you have 25 tweets to pull from, and it becomes a lot more interesting and varied instead of the same drum over and over.
And really important as well, what I think would be interesting to do is, instead of from the perspective of the organizers looking to increase registrations, from the perspective of the what did we call them, expert guests, from the expert guests looking to increase registrations. So we're going to keep exactly the same, still using the headline and the title, but let's see what it comes up with when it's rewriting these. So that, again, there is an element of this. If you did this, you'd be able to send these tweets out to the guys who are going to be involved, give them something that they could use as a technique. What have you seen straight away?
This is amazing. So in the first tweet, and remember, we did not tell it how many other people they're with. It's remembering from before. So right in tweet number 1, it says, excited to join 4 other amazing experts at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. We'll reveal the secrets of tomorrow's marketing strategies. Don't miss out this opportunity to learn and grow. Register now. So it understood that I'm in a group of 5, so therefore I need to reduce the integer by 1. Right. And then the second one is, I'm thrilled to be one of the 5 experts sharing game-changing insights at the Future of Digital Marketing Summit. Stay ahead of the curve and join us for this incredible event. Register here. So like that and it's coming up again with at least 5. Is terrific. That it's understanding that this is now from the guest perspective. It's remembering that there was 5 guests based on like 6 or 7 messages ago.
Yep.
And that they're in that, and writing even in different ways, right? I'm thrilled to be one of the 5, or I'll be joining 4 others. Like, that is the power of these threaded replies.
And I think, again, like, this is pretty specific now, but I was just looking at this and thinking to myself, do you know what we forgot to do is to make sure that they include our hashtag or not our hashtag, sorry, our handle in all of these tweets, right? Because if you were going to send these out to the guys and say, look, here's just some example tweets if you want to just copy paste. And again, this happens a lot. I've been a speaker at a couple of events. I'm sure you've seen these things get sent over to you as well. So I think there's another element of this we could actually say to it, making sure you add your handle to make sure you've got that, or a specific hashtag if you've got one. And again, if you just asked it to make those changes, it would be able to do this. But I think the real key thing for this whole episode and my idea behind this was there's like 5 stages, I'd say. Maybe it's 4, and I'm just hoping that it sounds better as 5. But the 5 stages, which is the first one, which was setting up that context, so really giving it a purpose as ChatGPT, so it's not just a system that farms out word after word, but actually it's something that's trying to understand a specific problem and trying to answer it in the best possible way. We then used it to figure out some ideation, and we've done that on multiple sides of things, right? We've done the ideation for different ways to promote something. We actually used it for ideation of figuring out a product in its own right from the very beginning, which is really interesting. We've then used it to actually outline what that product could potentially be, and it's ideated around that as well. So giving us the idea of this workshop, this has become a summit. This is a summit that's ended up with 5 guests. It's done some research on the guests for us. So we've got all of those phases built into it. So we've really done ideation through to research, through to actual deliverables, which I think is insane as well, right? We've now got to a point where we have an email that we're happy to send out to a few people. We've got social media posts of how this would actually come out and what we could do for us and for the guests. We've got our headlines and our clickbait titles to make sure that we really hopefully get as many registrations as possible. To me, this is huge. And if you've never seen this process from start to finish, I'm hoping that this gives you some insight and really understanding as to just how much this could help you with. Travis, is there anything I've missed on that list of I'm still going to go with 5. I'll figure out what those 5 are later.
I mean, the biggest takeaway for me is that you and I having a seed of an idea in roughly an hour, like if this was a real thing that we wanted to actually execute on, which who knows, it might be in the future now. I'm more sold on it than I was at the beginning. We actually got some decent structure, some good ideas on who to reach out to, how to do it, to the point that it's not quite, but it's way closer to copy and paste. Like it's definitely at that execution stage as opposed to the long slog of ideation and planning stage. We could actually start just putting out some feelers based on this to see if anyone would actually be interested in joining. To do that in an hour while we're explaining the process on a podcast episode is incredible, right? Like we probably could have been even more efficient if it was just you and I chopping it up on a Zoom call or something, right? So that's the insane brain hack to me about all of this, is that you collapse down what could take days and, round of motivation or whatever. It's like, how do I do this? Oh, I still got to write the tweets and got to sit there and rack your brain. You feel exhausted by the end. I'm like ready to go for another bike ride right now. Like I'm not wiped at all. This is great. So this is what gets me so excited about AI in general, and really collapsing down that process and getting to the execution part, which is in my opinion, the exciting part, and the part where most people need to get to, and everyone gets stuck in this minutia leading up to it. And that's now virtually eliminated.
I think, again, like you said, it's not just the ideation of it, but it's literally, we didn't come into this with an idea for a specific product or service at the end of this. And that's the really key piece of this. We literally just went, well, hang on, let's see what happens. We'll do it about, I picked the topic. I picked one of the actual ideas for a summit once we had decided it was going to be a workshop or a webinar. All of these things have literally come from this process. And I think that's something that's really key. We're all so stuck in our own heads sometimes of, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And again, because it's so hard to get started and to actually start fulfilling that process, I think that can be a real challenge for people. But again, we didn't know. But like you said, this could actually be something where we revisit it next week on a call, just the two of us, and go, do you know what? Actually, this wouldn't be that hard to pull together. And actually, we do know 3 or 4 people between us quite easily that would happily guest and be involved in this. And actually, we could pull something together and put it out there. And if people like that idea, again, like you say, this is all about the testing, right? Getting it out there in its simplest version to see if people do want to get involved and do want to register. That to me is a huge win, like you said, in an hour and 4 minutes, which hopefully as we edit this down a little bit, it'll be a bit quicker. But actually on the video version, I will keep this exactly as it is so people can see.
Yeah, this has been great. And even as someone who uses AI fairly often, I think going through this exercise is enlightening even for myself. So I hope other people get a lot out of it too.
Well, that's
But
it for today.
if you're super into this kind of stuff, there's 3 things that you should consider, right? One is if you're on YouTube, gently, ever so gently, hit that subscribe, like, and notification bell if
Not
you
smash.
care to. Nope, gently. We make love, not war over here, right? The second thing is, if you like the audio format, I know that this was primarily with visual aids, and so maybe it's not the best pitch for audio, but we do post this in all the major directories as instructed by ChatGPT earlier. So you can definitely subscribe to the All About Digital Marketing podcast. And my third plug, if you're savvy or interested in this whole AI bit, we're actually, this isn't a thing that Chris and I do. This is a thing I do with someone else, but we have an email marketing newsletter. It's a daily newsletter Monday through Friday called Signs of AI. So you can go to signsofai.com and sign up for a free daily newsletter where you get examples, trends, prompts, things that are interesting around AI. And if you're watching this very quickly, we're actually running a contest where we will actually pay for the winner to have a full year of ChatGPT Plus, which is what we used in this example with GPT-4. So that's my plug, my trifecta plug. Anything else, Chris?
Well, I've signed up to the Signs of AI email newsletter now, and I am enjoying it. I'm just wondering, what's the chances of me winning a ChatGPT subscription?
Well, it is running through contest domination, so you have a random weighted lottery. So if you keep referring people, you'll get 10 more chances for each person you refer, and your odds will be significantly better.
May the odds be forever in your favor, or whatever the Hunger Games phrase was. But Travis, this has been awesome.
That's actually what the first email says when you enter the contest. May the odds be in your favor.
Is there an emoji of snow, whatever his name was?
No. Anyway, good
Well,
stuff, man. I think this was unusual. It's different than what we normally do, but I think that also makes it exciting.
If you listen to this, if you've watched this, please do let us know, though, if you like this kind of content, because I think Travis and I would happily take on a more specific role in terms of what we're trying to achieve at the end of this. So if you've got ideas, or if you want us to run this for your business, for your particular services, whatever it might be, we'd happily go through this on another episode or as a video just to help and to make sure that we can do something that is useful. So let us know what your thoughts are. That's really, really useful. Travis, thank you so much. Everybody listening, thank you. And we'll see you again next week.